Hello, Mr. Lortz's math students. This video is for 8th grade math students in 1st and 7th period. It's also beneficial to my algebra students, whether level 2, 2nd and 8th period, or honors, if you need a little practice. Now, I'm going to make about 3 or 4 of these videos. They'll be kind of shorter on my end, giving you time to practice, but check out the ones that you need help with, because the only way to get good at equation solving is to practice and practice and practice until you learn the fundamentals. All right, the reason some of you are struggling is you don't know the fundamentals. Come in and see me. I'd love to help you. Anyway, here we go. Okay, problem number 1. I have x over 3 plus 5 equals 17. Now, to solve a two-step equation, I'm going to use those questions. Remember, question number 1 is, what is my goal, right? What is my goal? All right, and that's to get the variable alone. Question number 2, what numbers are keeping the variable from being alone? The variable from being alone. Okay, and in this problem, it looks like I have the number 3 and the number 5. Okay, so there's a 5 there. It's actually a positive 5. And there's also a 3, right? Those are on the same side of the equal sign as the variable, and therefore they're keeping it from being alone. Question number 3 is, how are they attached? How are they attached? Meaning, what operations are joining those numbers that are keeping the variable from being alone? How are they attached to the variable? Well, the 5 is a positive 5. That's addition. It's attached by addition, right? It's addition, right? It's attached by addition. Why is that so important? It'll be important for question number 4. The 3 is attached by a fraction bar. It's the denominator of a fraction, which means it's attached by division, right? And here's why it's so important. Because question number 4 is, how do I undo those operations? How do I undo those operations? How do I undo that? Well, what are the inverses? Okay, and we said we had what? Multiplication. No, we didn't say we had multiplication. Silly me. We said we had division, right? You don't see me make a division symbol very much. To undo that, I'm going to use multiplication. And we also said I had addition, and for that I'm going to use subtraction, because they are the inverse operations of the two operations in question. They will undo the operations that we are seeing in the problem. Okay, and the 5th question is, which should I undo first? Which should I undo first? And you got to be careful with this, okay? We want to listen to Sanam. We want to undo subtraction and addition before division and multiplication. But there are some special circumstances in certain cases. So anyway, let's look at how to solve this one. So because of inverse order of operations, I'm going to undo addition before division. So I'm going to undo a positive 5. Well, I undo that with subtracting 5, but I have to do it to both sides, right? And so then my equation looks like this. X divided by 3, and that's going to equal 12. Now, to undo this division here, I'm going to use multiplication. But remember, I don't do this. This is wrong. Do not do that. That says 3 times 3. 3 times 3 doesn't cancel out. That doesn't make any sense. We know that we need multiplication to cancel out division. We show it this way, 3 over 1, because then these 3's can cancel out. Of course, if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. I didn't write it as a fraction because the 12's not written as a fraction. If it were 1 over 12, you better believe I would do times 3 over 1. Okay, so the left-hand side becomes x, because all I have is an x divided by 1, which is just x. and 12 times 3 is 36. And of course, you should always check your answer. So I put 36 in here, right? And I get 36 divided by 3, which is 12. And then if I add 5 to that, right, plus 5, I do in fact get 17. I know this checks. I'm good. Okay, number 2. My goal is to get x alone. That hasn't changed. What numbers are keeping the x from being alone? Well, let's see here. I have a 6, and I'll point out to you that's a positive 6, and I have a negative 3. How is the negative 3 attached? Well, that's multiplication. Yeah, there's multiplication going on right here. A number next to a variable means multiply. Okay, it actually means there are 3 x's there. All right, how is the 6 attached? Some of you want to say by subtraction. Not true. Here, I'll prove it. If this is by subtraction, then I should be able to add 6, and these will cancel. 6 plus 6 equals 0. What? That doesn't make any sense. Of course not. So our idea that it's attached by subtraction just might be flawed. I think it's attached by addition because the 6 is positive. If you look at this previous problem, the 5 was positive, right? No, Mr. Lawrence, that's a plus 5. There's no difference. That's a plus sign. It's also an addition sign. It's also a positive sign. So that means it's a positive 5. How do I cancel out a positive 5? With a negative 5, or by subtracting 5 right there. So since this is a positive 6, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, when that happens, these will cancel, leaving me a negative 3x equals, now remember, when the signs are the same, this is an addition problem. So I have 6 negatives here. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Below it, I have 6 more negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do I have? Well, altogether I have 12 negatives, or negative 12. Now I can undo the multiplication by dividing. I'll do that to both sides. I know that these will cancel, leaving an x. Sorry if you can hear that buzzer. I'm doing some laundry while I do my videos. Negative 12 minus 3, negative 12 divided by negative 3 is going to be, excuse me, a positive 4. And there you go. And again, we can check our work. Let's go with 6 minus 3 times 4. And let's follow the order of operations. And when we do that, we're going to get 6 minus 12. The signs are different, so it's a subtraction problem. So 12 minus 6 is 6. But the 12 is farther from 0 on a number line than the 6 is. And so I keep its sign. There we go. All right. Now, I've got 4 problems here that I want you to try all on your own. Pause the video and try them. I'm going to put my answers up. I got to tell you, I'm going to put the wrong answer on one of them. If you watch the video, I want you to come and check with me, okay, about which one was the wrong answer. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. If you haven't paused it yet, try these 4 problems, and then when you're done with the 4, you can see my 4 solutions. All right, so on number 1, I believe x is going to equal negative 8. All right. Number 2, x is going to equal 4. Okay. Number 3, x is going to equal 1. All right, x is going to equal 1. And then number 4, x, I believe, is going to equal 6. Remember, one of those answers is wrong. Hopefully you match 3 of my answers perfectly. See if you can figure out which one is incorrect, all right, and what it should be. All right, that's it for the video. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.